Hello, good morning. My name is David Wingfield, and this is my final submission video, kind of explaining my transformation over the last 8-week Phorm Fall Transphormation challenge. To say this challenge was transformative, it would be a gross understatement for me. It all kind of started back in February when I had first found out about 75 hard. Woke up on February 17th with a migraine, with a terrible mindset. I was pissed off. I was angry. The night before, I had promised, like so many people, tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow I'm going to get better. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do all of the right things. Tomorrow. That was the 16th. And then the 17th, my tomorrow, I woke up and had a crick in my neck because I didn't sleep well. Had a migraine, headache, couldn't focus, was just angry because I slept through my alarm. So I didn't get to do my morning workout, was already having to rush to get ready for work. And I was in such a bad mental space that I just called out of work and gave up on the day. First thing in the morning, my first decision of the day was to give up. And so I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, saw myself, and I hated what I saw. I saw somebody who was a quitter. I saw somebody who was out of shape, to say the least. I saw somebody who let his bitch voice dominate his life. I have struggled with depression and anxiety as an adult, most of my life, but it really has kind of reared its ugly head more so as an adult over the last 10 or so years since I got out of college. And I never did anything to really correct it. I had done therapy and that was great, but I grew up in Hawaii where the standard of beauty, to be out on the beach and have muscles and all that kind of thing was definitely pressured to do that. But even that wasn't enough for me to stay focused on my health and fitness. So I moved to Washington State 4 years ago, and that was a huge jump start in me, getting better as far as mental health goes. Continued to see a therapist, but every time I felt like I was good, I would stop. Whatever was working, I would just stop. Oh, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this therapy. I don't need to work out anymore. I feel great. And no sooner did I stop doing those things, did my mental health always take a dive. So February 17th, I woke up, looked in the mirror, hated what I saw, quit. I quit. I called out of work, went back to bed, opened my emails, and had received an email from Real AF podcast with Andy Frisella, and it was episode number 98, 75 hard with Omar Prestwich, I believe is his name. And I had heard Andy's New Year podcast, like just kind of randomly, I think. I don't remember how I got into the Real AF podcast, but I heard it on New Year's Day, and he was like, all these people are going to be talking about new year, new me. That's bullshit. No one's going to change unless you actually actively make that choice to be different and to do the things that are no longer in your comfort zone. Push yourself to get out of your comfort zone, because doing it your way clearly has gotten you to a point of dissatisfaction with your life. If you're fat, it's because you ate too much. He was typical Andy fashion, right? Calling people on their bullshit. And so I heard that and I was like, oh, that's the kind of tough love, so to speak, that I needed. But I ended up doing nothing with it. I never took action until February 17th. I listened to this podcast. By the grace of God, did I receive it? I have no recollection of signing up to receive the Real AF podcast, but I got this podcast and I listened to it, and 5 minutes in, almost immediately, I texted my girlfriend and I said, this is what I'm doing. This is going to help me. And so that was February 17th. I listened to the rest of the podcast, found more of the podcast about 75 hard, and I went back into the bathroom, took a picture of myself, and to say that it was heartbreaking is an understatement as well, because I had seen a version of myself that I never wanted to get to. a version of myself that was a quitter. That I grew up playing sports. I was very competitive. I have a very competitive nature, and I gave up on myself. And I was fat. I was not healthy in any way. Whenever I felt hungry, I would do the American way of just going to a fast food restaurant. Wendy's was my jam. I was having back pain. Ended up going to a chiropractor and trying to just have him fix me. And there were so many things that were out of alignment. My girlfriend's a physical therapist, and so she referred me to the chiropractor. And while we're sitting there after he had taken my images, my x-rays, they start talking about all this nerd medical stuff about what's wrong with me and how this is rotated that and this angle of this and my back was this and my thoracic spine and all lumbar spine problems. And I'm just looking at them like, what the fuck is this? What's happening? All I'm seeing is red lines and I look broken. And I just started crying. I was like, I'm fucking broken. And he goes, no, you're not broken. We can fix it. And I just looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I'm so scared because I'm an engineer by education, by background. I worked in the shipyard. I love ships, and engineering was my jam. And I'm a fix-it person. I'm a fixer. And I'm looking at these x-rays and I can't fix it. I can't solve this problem. So they assure me that it's going to be okay. And this was in January. And I go back the next week for my first adjustment. And when he adjusts me, I was going 3 times a week to start. That's how bad I was. And after a month of that, when insurance no longer covers, I only have 12 visits a year, then we went to once a week. And every time I left his office, I would just feel all my energy drain from my body. I had no motivation to do anything after every single adjustment, which mentally, they didn't physically hurt, but I was mentally drained from whatever he was doing. The correction was exhausting, mentally exhausting. And I just would want to, his office is right next to a Wendy's, so I'd every day drive through Wendy's and feed my depression with a Dave's triple with extra bacon and then a Baconator with extra bacon as a dessert, which is disgusting to say that out loud. But that was how I dealt with it. I never had been an emotional eater up until within the last probably 4 years when I moved to Washington. I had a very stressful job at a shipyard as a project manager, dealing Navy contracts into the millions and millions of dollars. I love the work. I'm good at it. However, there was some political bullshit at the job and some personnel issues that I just couldn't overcome. The additive stress. And so failed relationships, toxic relationships, we could get into that a whole nother day. But I just started feeding my lack of energy and my depression with terrible fast food. And so I get to this episode of 75 Hard, episode number 98, released on February 17th. I make the decision, this is what I'm going to do. I sent it to my girlfriend and I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm starting immediately. As soon as I get a workout plan together, as soon as I figure out a meal plan, this is what I'm doing. And I don't expect you to do it with me, but I need you to know this is now my number one priority for the rest of today. At that point, I had never done anything like 75 Hard, but I knew that it was going to help me. And it was God. God told me. And I was trying to improve my spiritual life all the while doing this year. And I just felt anger towards God. I felt distant. I didn't know how to read scripture. I tried to do a daily devotional for the year, every day for the whole calendar year, and I was just listening to it to check the box. And my girlfriend's super supportive. She was like, okay, let's do this. If you think this is going to help, let's do it. So this is February 19th was my official day 1 of 75 Hard. And I took the picture and I was excited about it, but I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I made a promise that my workouts I dug one up from college that I did. And so that was going to be my morning workout. I was going to lift weights in the morning, and my outdoor workout would be a cardio, a run, a walk, something. And during my morning workouts, I would listen to an audio book about personal development. This did not count as my 10 pages, but this was just an additional audio book. Or I would listen to my daily devotions in the morning, and then on my evening outdoor cardio, I would listen to the Real AF podcast. So that's actually kind of funny about that, because I just got my Spotify 2021 unwrapped, right, for the year, and I've completed 85 episodes of Real AF this year. Hundreds of hours of listening to Andy Frisella talk about mental toughness, helping people, being better every day, being the best version of myself is the best thing for everyone around me, my family, my friends, my coworkers. I completed 75 hard. Had heard about First Phorm from Andy talking about it on the podcast, and also, my girlfriend's cousin. So I look into it, and I'm just blown away by the community of First Phorm. So I signed up for the summer challenge. Jicky Lee was my first advisor. I just downloaded the app, auto-assigned me to Jicky, and he was awesome. I still talk to Jicky on social media. Like I love following him and his content. And his message is exactly in line with First Phorm's and Andy's, right? And that's what I love about the First Phorm community, is that it's the people that work there, the athletes, the advisors, the trainers, everyone that I've come across from First Phorm, they really live by the core values. And I was so gung-ho after doing 75 hard. I knew 3 days into that program that my life would never be the same. And so wanting to use my experience to help other people, I applied to be a Legionnaire. And I was accepted, talked to Anna Harris, and she and I cried on the phone telling her my 75 hard story. And then she put me in touch with my coach, Valerie Breckenridge, who has been so amazing. Once I became a Legionnaire, I joined Austin Davis's team, and that dude is a stud. Austin is, I follow him on Instagram, and just like everyone else that I had come across up to that point, Austin is an incredible advisor, motivating, tough when he needs to be, as far as like no BS, here's the plan, run the play, right? He's the football coach, run the play is what he talks about in his announcements, and it's very motivating to see somebody close to my age who's taking control of their life and is living that every single day, and truly believes in those core values and lives by them. They're not just, oh, that's my job. Like, no, that's who he is. That's who everyone at First Phorm is. They all share those core values as their personal values. Running off of that high from completing 75 hard, I put my name in the hat to be the 2021 elite athlete search. Signed up for my first triathlon with my girlfriend. She had done it before, I never had. So I was moving out of my comfort zone. Was an advisor in the First Phorm app during the summer challenge. It was my first challenge as well, as a transformer and an advisor simultaneously. So I had some friends and family join, but it wasn't until the start of the fall challenge where watching Austin really go through 75 hard and talking about his intention behind every activity, being focused in that moment for that task, really motivated me to say, okay, what can I do? And his before and after pictures of 75 hard blew my mind. I was like, if that is what being intentional gets you, those kinds of results, and it wasn't just physical, like what he talks about from his mental toughness standpoint, what he learned about himself, truly was just awe-inspiring to me. And I was like, this is how I need to approach it. I had read Andy's book, 75 Hard. I had read David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, Win the Day by Mark Patterson. I've read all these books, right? So they all kind of talk about that intentional mindset. Ben Newman, Von Kohler, like all these people that Andy had talked about on his Real AF podcast, that was kind of my reading list. I would like, okay, he would talk about a book. I would go buy it And that's my next book for the 75 Hard program. Von Kohler, Ben Newman, Sean Stevenson, Ed Milet. These are all people that I would listen to and I would get their books as part of my program. But really watching Austin execute on those things that's how I need to do it. Now I get the intentional side. Now for myself, wanting to, not knowing what my own purpose was in life, I had heard of this book called Purpose Driven Life by Pastor Rick Warren. And so my definition of intentionality, sorry, my nose itches. My definition of intentionality is letting God take care of it. I had never done that before. I had never welcomed God to walk with me in my day-to-day life. And my stepdad, who raised me, is a licensed pastor, and he lives to mimic Christ, and which was like, wow, that's cool. I had walked away from my faith during college, had done all of the drinking, the partying, the hooking up, all the crazy shit. And now I'm in my 30s and I was like, my life isn't what it should be. It's not where it should be financially. My career was going well, but just my finances just weren't in order. My mental health wasn't in order. My physical, every aspect of life just wasn't healthy. And so I decided to turn over my 75 Hard program to God. And before every activity going into phase 2, which is when I started phase 2 at the beginning of the Fall Transphormation Challenge, I knew that was the best way that I knew how to be intentional, is to pray for God to be a part of it and for this activity. And it wasn't just the 75 hard tasks. It was sending announcements to my team. It was posting on social media. It was every meeting for work, every interaction with my girlfriend or with my family or friends, praying to God to let this interaction or this exact moment honor and glorify Him. Continuing with the daily devotions every day. I hit a wall. It was day 18 of my second attempt at phase 2, which was 2 weeks into the challenge. My girlfriend had a birthday, October 24th, and we drove away from her birthday. We had a hotel. Driving home, I just was so mad. I was so angry. I had no reason to be. A lot of the spiritual stuff, the commitment to getting every green check mark for the challenge, which was hitting my calories, my protein, my carbs, my fats, my fiber, and my water every single day for the entire challenge, was what I was doing. And today, Thursday, December 2nd, day number 57 for me in the challenge, of when I submitted my entry photo to when I submitted my final photos. I wish the lighting would stop doing that. Of those 57 days, 50 of them have been 6 green check marks. And working with Austin to kind of be in a calorie deficit, to lean out and really go for that cut look. How much can I change my body by being so specific of the plan? If I hit every detail, I will see results. I wanted to be that example for my friends and family who follow me on social media, who I talk to every day, that attention to detail really will maximize your results. But also running, broad strokes of the play. Move every day, drink your water, prioritize sleep, hit your calories, get your protein, do resistance training. Those 6 things, if you do those every day, or most days even, you will see a result. But I wanted to be extreme. Again, that kind of goes with what you learn in 75 Hard, is doing everything to the absolute best. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So that's what I was doing. And by doing that, bringing God into every part of it, I was just peeling back layers of bullshit of my life and just really identifying who I was, who God wanted me to be, and putting God's plan before my own is an incredible journey. Spiritual warfare was very intense. Week 4 of this challenge absolutely kicked my ass. I hit every green check mark. I was doing my workouts only because that became a grounding exercise for me. Mental health took a dive. I went back into therapy, and my therapist was like, whoa, you're showing signs of ADHD and anxiety. And I was like, what the fuck? So getting those under control, really by using the challenge to keep me focused, knowing that if I hit these green check marks, and that's just the check marks, it's the daily tasks. Do my devotions every morning, read Purpose Driven Life every day, do my book, right, with 75 Hard. I ended up completing phase 2 the day before Thanksgiving and hit every check mark, hit every check mark on the 75 Hard app, doing those critical tasks that Andy talks about. Work is exploding. Everything was just going so well. The Holy Spirit inside of me is beaming. I never had that feeling before, and I'm walking with God every day, and I look at this challenge and I'm like, gosh, this is who I was 8 weeks ago is not who I am today. The pictures show it, but really what they don't show is the struggle to be focused and to sit there every single day and commit to getting 6 green checks, do your 45-minute walk, read your 10 pages, drink your water, 75 Hard, the first Phorm app, now that you have the critical tasks there and the weekly tasks, accomplishing those every single day, every single week. I also committed when they released the Gleam Challenge for the Legionnaire Conference, I am not going to miss a single point. I hit every point the day after Thanksgiving. I finished 75 Hard. I'm in Washington State, so I'm 2 hours behind Central Time. It was 9:45, and I look at my girlfriend and I say, I haven't worked out today. I've been doing it every single day for 9 months, but the enemy put that in there. Today you're taking a rest day. And I looked at my phone, and I pulled up the first Phorm app, looked at the workout, and I said, I'm not going to finish this before the deadline to submit a completed workout into the Gleam Challenge. So, in going with the core values of integrity and leading by example, responsibility, I wasn't going to lie. I had not completed that workout. I was not going to hit complete, even if I were to do it after I submitted it. To me, it wasn't honest. By submitting a point just to get the point and then go back and then do the work, no, you don't hit workout complete until the work is done. Hashtag we do the work, right? I had not done the work. So I had removed myself from the elite athlete search. I stopped applying and submitting points for it because I recognized that the core values of First Phorm had not been adopted by myself. They were not my personal core values yet. I needed to do work on some of them. And I've been doing that work. And so all of these things were happening during this fall challenge. And to say that I live by the core values of First Phorm, I, being the most critical person of myself, can see areas where I may not have all of them yet, but I'm fucking getting there. I'm going to be there someday, where there's never any hesitation, never any doubt. I 100% certainty can say that I live by those core values because they are my core values. And so to wrap all of this up, the 8-week challenge is as functionally done. For me, I'm going out of town tomorrow. I will continue to hit the check marks, but as far as the pictures go, today was my last day to have, like we always talk about, I'm being coached by Austin, and I've coached all of my transformers in the app. Make sure your last pictures are just like your first ones, same pose, same outfit, same lighting, same background, to really show the changes that you've experienced and you've accomplished. I did those this morning, submitted them to Austin. So this is going to conclude my video. Thank you for hosting these challenges. This one was far more than just a physical transformation for me. This was a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Every aspect of health, what I call my pillars of health, have been touched and been changed by this challenge. So thank you, First Phorm. I'm proud to rep. I have all my products. I use them every single day. I love them all. I'm just so excited to be even a small part of the First Phorm family. I hope to come see you all in Missouri next year, or whenever the opportunity comes. I will definitely jump on it, and I will be there. And I can't wait to meet everybody: TJ, Aaron, Christian Ball, Daryl, Austin, Valerie Breckeridge, Jicky, everyone at First Phorm, Will Grumke. You all speak into my life. You're all mentors of mine from afar. I keep doing what you're doing. You guys are all awesome. And this concludes my video submission. Sorry for the length. I just had to get it all out there. So thank you for your time.